Hi.
Hey, Chloe.
We'll never get it right. Hi.
Well, best intro ever.
Oh, just that background makes it.
Well, that would be because it's our last video before Halloween,
Spooky.
and we've been sort of talking little bits and pieces about Halloween in the lead up. So I thought I'd finish with a bang.
Woohoo.
I love your background.
Oh, I
Switches.
know. Just light switches and blinds and there you go, fluffy pillows.
Well, if your cat walks by this week, then you'll fit the theme.
I mean, it's a cat that thinks it's a dog, so that's pretty spooky.
Yeah, it's a werecat. What are we going to talk about this week? I haven't got heaps lined up.
I've got a few. I've got a few.
You?
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Well,
Bring in my A game today.
I want to firstly welcome people that are watching. Perhaps it's their first time. If they don't know, we have a podcast on Monday called Good Movie Monday. You have a segment on there.
I do.
And we just had a Halloween special with our special guest, John Cassier, who is the voice of the Crypt Keeper from Tales from the Crypt. And it's possibly my favourite interview that I've done ever. So
I could tell.
I recommend people should go back and listen to that if they haven't already. The video of my conversation with John is also on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram. So, yeah.
So I listened and I could tell you were like a kid in a bloody candy store. You were so excited.
And he was so animated.
He was. It was so fun. It really was. Like, I enjoy listening to interviews with a lot of actors and directors and people to do with the business. But that was probably the most fun interview I'd heard because he was just he was in a character at some point. It was so fun.
Well, I'm glad you thought that because, I mean, I'm going to guess that you probably didn't know who he was prior to that. So That makes it even better.
Yep.
Fantastic.
Kind of made me like an instant fan. Like, he was just so fun to listen to.
Yeah, and Ben and I on the show talked about how Tales from the Crypt is possibly the most fun horror TV show there is, and you can see why.
Yeah, it does sound fun from listening to you guys talk about it on this week's episode. Yeah, so I really enjoyed this one. Yeah.
Oh, why? Thank you.
Yeah.
So it is Halloween, and yeah, there we go. So formalities are out of the way. Now we can just talk.
Now we can chillax a talk.
Although on the show you did react to Monster Squad. Let's put that out there.
Yeah.
And, which is wasn't the response I was hoping for, but but
I told you.
It's the response that didn't surprise either of us.
You know what surprised me was Ben's response to my watching it. I honestly thought he'd tear me a new one, but he kind of was in my corner for this one a little bit, and I was pleasantly surprised because I think the biggest thing for me was if I had to watch this at the same time that I watched Goonies or some other show like that, I probably would have loved it the same.
Yeah, I mean, both of us Ben and I are very aware of generational changes and things like that, and so that's why it didn't really surprise us. He was definitely, like you said, much more in your corner for it, which I was happy with, because I stick the boot in more than he does. So,
and that's what makes this dynamic work. I did enjoy something that I hadn't thought about was when I was talking about if Fred Decker ever decided to do a remake. I didn't think about this generation, how they're not so in tune with werewolves and Frankenstein's monster and Dracula. I didn't even think about that. That didn't even cross my mind.
But how great was Ben's idea? Adapt it with the modern horror monsters.
I mean, I don't mind that idea. I'm not familiar with those monsters or those would be new characters, but I would be all for it.
No, you're not. But that's the thing is that the time between Monster Squad and those Universal monsters is the same amount of time between this generation and those iconic horror monsters.
Yeah, sure.
All right. So,
like I said, the story was great. I enjoyed the overall concept of the movie. It's just I had a lot of issues with the jumping around and the flow of it. That's all.
Well, anyway, we're not here to talk about that, but I wanted to bring it up because I haven't had a chance to actually, talk to you about that.
Yeah.
I'm glad
For
you watched
sure.
it though. It's Halloween classic.
I'm glad I watched it too. And to be honest with you, I would like my kids to watch it when they get a little bit older. So, it just adds to the pile that I'm going to show them.
Wicked.
Yeah.
What did you have there to talk about?
Well, I'm kind of wondering how this new live action Barbie remake is going to go. Um,
There's a Halloween movie for you. Fucking hell.
yeah, pretty scary. So I'm very much in Margot Robbie's corner. Um, but I just don't know about this. I'm not.
Well, it's a curious one. I'm going to back it. Like I'm on board with it, right? Because one, like you said, Margot Robbie, a lot of integrity there with what she chooses to make. Same with Ryan Gosling, who's cast as Ken.
Yeah.
And I imagine, I mean, this is an interesting one because at first in my mind I go to movies like Clueless, Mean Girls, that kind of thing. That's the kind of environment they'll put them in. However, Barbie's nowadays a very female empowering kind of character, and so maybe we're looking more at a Legally Blonde type of thing.
I mean, if they go in any of those directions, it'll be a smash hit, and I'll love it.
I mean, it's got to have all of the other things too. Like, it's got to have the car, the caravan. Like, you got to,
And it's
all the
all gotta be
accessories.
pink.
All the accessories have to be there. Like, it's
Has
got
to.
to stick with the brand. Yeah,
That's
a
the
good
thing.
one.
If it doesn't, then it's not really Barbie, is it?
No, not at all. Like, I mean, I've not watched any of the Barbie cartoons, and there are loads of them, like loads of them, and I don't know what direction they take. But I'm going to guess they'll just adapt that kind of thing.
I hope not. They're very childlike, and they do cater to an extremely young audience. So I'm hoping this caters to more towards my generation.
I hope they go for the kiddie audience, because Barbie's a kiddie figure. Like, we've grown up with Barbie and Ken, G.I. Joe, all that kind of stuff, and so we do have a nostalgic connection to them. But let's not forget that throughout the ages, Barbie is targeted at kids.
But is Barbie big these days? Like, I don't see
Yeah.
anything Barbie these days. No little girls that are friends with my kids talk about Barbie, and nothing is Barbie these days.
But Barbie is still a huge merchandise property. Like, they've just come out with COVID Nurse Barbie and all that kind of stuff. It's still a big thing. I read about it in the paper a lot. So, I mean, you don't have little girls, so maybe that's why.
Yeah, maybe. But even my friends that do have little girls, I don't know any of them to have Barbies.
Well, fair enough. I don't know. Well, I mean, the fact they're making a movie out of Barbie, I'm going to guess it's still a very big thing. But I hope it's for little kids. You hope it's for more young adults. So
yeah, I do. I hope it's sort of generally steered towards my generation, because we were huge on the Barbies, and I just don't see Ryan Gosling in sort of a kiddie Barbie type movie. I just don't see it.
Okay. Well, we'll just have to. This will be interesting. We'll have to see how it unfolds. Agree to
Yeah.
disagree on what we want, but see how it unfolds, because I would be disappointed if it's for any other generation, simply because it's Barbie. Like, it's pointless otherwise. But that's my take.
Fair enough.
So we will have to revisit this when a trailer drops or whatever.
Speaking of trailers, I watched the Batman trailer that you recommended to me, Robin Pattinson, because I was very curious. And not bad.
Yeah,
not bad, because I'm not
it's
so much the DC girl. Yeah, it's not bad. What's her name? Zoe Kravitz. I didn't realize that she was in it. Yeah, it doesn't look half bad, to be honest with you.
Well, that's it. I mean, and it's all it is a trailer, and all a trailer should be is a teaser. Like, I have a big issue these days with studios pumping out. They pump out like a pre-trailer teaser, or a pre-teaser teaser, a teaser 2, teaser 3, trailer 1, trailer 2, trailer 3. Like,
Dumb and Dumber 1, Dumb and Dumber 2.
It is. I think it is absolutely ludicrous, and and this is me being an old man. When I was young,
Just
it used to be
newspaper.
you would get one trailer. You'd get one trailer, and that was all you needed to whet your appetite. I don't know why they need to do things. So what I take from like the Batman trailer is it gives you, it lets you anticipate what the tone's going to be. It doesn't have to tell you what the movie is going to be like. I think too many people are hung up on trailers and like, oh, that trailer's shit. How dare they do this? How dare they do that? It's like, well, wait for the fucking movie, because sometimes the studios also lead you astray deliberately so that, you know, you get your expectations down, and when you see the film, they, you know, shoot back up.
They're it's propaganda. It's movie propaganda. And if you can't see that, then you need to reevaluate yourself, because that's what it does. It's meant to draw you in either way. So you can go to prove them wrong as how they fucked up the movie, and then you're pleasantly surprised, like you said, or to make you fucking super hyped up for it, and even if you are disappointed, you still went and saw the movie.
Yeah, so
You know what I mean?
that's the thing. They drop these things usually at Comic-Con as well. It's either Comic-Con or Super Bowl is when they drop these big anticipated trailers, and they count on the debate amongst fans. Whereas back in our day, it was one trailer and it was, you know, a good trailer. Remember the voice too, like this summer.
I used to try and replicate that, like when I used to play at school, and everyone thought I was weird, but I loved it.
He was a cop down on his luck.
I admire anyone who can actually do that voice. It's phenomenal.
Shit. Well, yes. Anyway, that was a good progression of stuff from you. Like
I know.
I've done nothing.
I know. Look, and I never usually follow up on things that you recommend towards me. So like it's been a really good day. And I even have more, Glenn. Look, I came prepared, okay? I didn't really want to talk about the whole Alec Baldwin thing, but I think
neither did I, to be honest with you. But
it just feels like history repeating itself with the whole Bruce Lee kid, what's his name? Brandon Lee whole thing.
Yep.
Like, haven't there been procedures put in place since this? Like,
well, there are. Like, I mean, I don't want to make light of this. It's not something to make light of. However, this is, you know, the second notable incident the first since Brandon Lee, right? So that's nearly 30 years between incidents.
Right.
There have been multiple thousands of films made in the meantime where nothing has happened, right? So it is a freak accident one, right? Obviously, there's an investigation to happen. Secondly, it was, I mean, as we'll learn more about this as time goes on, but this was low-budget film, which when it's low budget, there's less money put into these provisions. They had an armourer who was not very experienced. I mean, it's not to excuse it at all, but I think all of these calls to ban, they're asking to ban prop guns from films and replace them with CG guns. It's ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
It's like, no, let's just take a chill pill and think about the fact that this is the second incident in 30 years. That's statistically, it's not going to happen again for a very, very long time, if at all.
Yeah.
And just use this as a way to make things safer, instill those protocols, you know?
I bloody hope so, because it's bloody tragic.
It is very tragic, very tragic. And a lot of people have been asking, well, why was she in the line of fire to begin with and all that? And it's like, well, have you ever watched a movie where the actor points a gun at a camera? You know, we've all seen that scene where you do that, right? And who's behind the camera? Cinematographer. And who's usually behind the cinematographer? The director.
The director. Yep.
No one's thinking. Like, people are outraged, and they're not thinking about, you know, the circumstances.
No. They're one-hit wonders. They like to make their comment and move on, and usually their comment is full of shit and is unresearched, and they don't fucking know what they're talking about. So those people are just dumbasses, and I wouldn't think about anything else they say. But you know, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. And
it's a shocking thing. Like, it is a shocking thing. And you know, me trying to justify, you know, guns on sets is not me making light of it.
I don't think you're trying to justify I don't think you're trying to justify what happened. Absolutely not. But like you said, it's something that's very rare occurring, but I feel like there definitely should be procedures put in place. So this didn't happen.
There are procedures in place too. Like, I've been, I don't know if you've seen in previous videos we've done. I've got a poster over in the corner, which you can't see now because there's pumpkins in the way. But it's called The Fortunate. And Jarrett Jarrett from the podcast, went on the set of that to, you know, film behind the scenes.
Wow.
And there was an armourer on set, and you know, it was fantastic. I think his name, I'm not going to remember his name, John Ford or something like that. Anyway, he is a famous Australian armourer. He works on most of our film sets here, TV and film. And he walked us through the procedure of what they do, what an
Yeah.
armourer does. And, he showed us the guns. He opened the guns. He showed us the barrels. He showed us what he puts in them, blah, blah, blah. There's protocols from the moment the gun comes out of its case to when it goes into the actor's hands.
Yeah.
There is protocol. There are things said, like even in the Alec Baldwin situation, they said cold gun when they handed it to him because that's protocol, right?
Yep.
Something fucked up along the way, and it's a combination of factors, and that's independent film, young armourer that's not experienced, or if you buy into conspiracies, someone deliberately did, which that's people say,
That's
oh,
the
you
conspiracy with Brendan Lee as well, isn't it? Like it's just
Brandon Lee, yes,
Brandon Lee. Sorry.
Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, there's always going to be conspiracies, and I don't think they should necessarily be discounted because the cops would not discount them. They would investigate that as an option, and if these protocols are followed, then I think that's a logical thing to investigate.
Fair enough. I think that's a good point. Yeah.
I'd hate to be everyone involved. I'd hate to be Alec Baldwin because this will live with him for the rest of his life. I'd hate to be the family of the cinematographer who was killed. I hate to be the director. This was a passion project of his, So
it's just and
everyone that saw it.
Show.
And everyone that saw it.
Yeah, that's it. It's going to affect a lot of people, and it's going to affect a lot of things in the industry. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
It'll be interesting to see if they finish the film because you can go both ways. Like they can say, well, out of respect, we won't finish it, or they could say, out of respect, we will finish it. So
right,
which is The Crow. They finished that.
Yep. One of my friends.
Anyway.
David, it's his favorite movie, and he talks about it he used to talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
And
good on Alex Proyas.
Yeah, it was a conspiracy that he used to talk to you about as well. So
yeah,
just interesting stuff.
Well, I'm actually glad you brought it up. I was going to avoid it if I could, but
sorry.
No, don't be. It turned into a pretty good conversation.
This just goes to show people at home that we don't actually pre-plan what we talk about. It is all on a whim, and we have no idea.
Yeah, it's true. Oh, shit. Let's maybe lighten it up a little bit. What was it? I read, it's a passing comment, but I read that Emily Blunt and Dwayne Johnson were reprimanded by Disney during their press junket for Jungle Cruise because they were a little too kinky in their interaction, in their sort of interactions with each other.
Disney movie guys, got to keep it clean. Got to keep it clean.
I remember watching them, and there was definitely like a really frivolous kind of sexual tension between them that was just hilarious.
Wow.
And I love the fact that they were slapped across the wrist by Disney.
Well, I mean, you put those two together. I mean, you've seen Dwayne Johnson in interviews, I'm sure. And Emily Blunt, she's a good old English woman, so she has quite a good sense of humor. And then you put Jack Whitehall in that as well. Like, it's just a recipe for kind of, something to happen.
Yes. Well, anyway, that was that. I knew that would not lead us to a conversation, but maybe this won't either. But I read this somewhere. Anthony Michael Hall, who is one of the actors from John Hughes movies, he's gone on to other things as well. He was saying that before John Hughes died, that the two of them were discussing a Breakfast Club sequel. Right? And that's not kind of what I want to talk about. I want to lead that in towards a John Hughes conversation. Are you a fan of John Hughes? Are you one of these people? Okay, so you're not on the cancel culture train who wants to undo all of the John Hughes films.
No.
Okay, because Molly Ringwald,
you can't cancel.
That shits me.
You can't cancel Molly Ringwald, even if Molly Ringwald wants to be cancelled. You cannot cancel her. She's an icon.
No. Well, she has issues with the films, but anyway, I'm a sucker for them. What's your favorite John Hughes movie?
It has to be Breakfast Club. Like, it has to be.
It doesn't have to
man,
be.
I mean, fuck, that's put me on the spot.
All right. Well, mine is without a doubt Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. I think it's the perfect comedy. It makes you cry. It makes you cry both with laughter and with sadness. It is just the perfect film, and he wrote that in like 2 days.
I think when my mum tried to show me that movie, I was a bit too young, so I didn't kind of take to that movie. And I'm gonna it's been on my list to rewatch that for a long time. So I might have to do that.
Now is the perfect time because it's a Thanksgiving movie. So we're just coming out of Halloween and into Thanksgiving. It's the perfect time.
Fun fact, guys. American Thanksgiving falls on my birthday. So
Oh my God. And you're so thankful.
I'm super thankful for my birthday.
I think they should cast you as Barbie.
I'd be a bloody good Barbie. I'd be politically correct chunky Barbie.
There's an oxymoron in there.
I'm not Margot Robbie, tall or skinny, so I'd be the politically correct dumpy Barbie.
Let's just
with stretch marks and pimple pock marks, scars on her face. She's
Mum of
so
3
beautiful.
Barbie. Yeah.
With huge black bags under her eyes and looks like she hasn't slept in 3 days.
And you bring up your little children dolls and they've got like texture all over their face.
Mind you, that's only just come off. So we're completely clean now, guys.
Excellent. There's closure to that story. Excellent.
There you go. Yeah, it finally happened. Kids
Anyway,
will be the death of me.
back to John Hughes.
Yeah, so yeah, probably Breakfast Club. I don't think I can ever overlook that.
It's a good movie.
I think we even did an adaptation of it. Yeah, we even didn't. Whenever I walk across like a green oval or something, I'm always yeah, so when I was doing
What
drama,
other colour ovals are there?
I mean, don't you know, Glenn? If you don't know, I'm not going to tell you. I've lost my train of thought now.
Sorry.
What was I going to say? Yeah, high school. When I was in high school and doing VCE drama, we did an adaptation, and I was Ali Sheedy because I'm weird.
Is that because you had dandruff?
It's because I'm weird.
Ah.
And I was kind of emo back then, so it kind of fit my personality a little bit.
Which meant you basically didn't have to say anything.
Pretty much, yeah. I just had to act like a really weird sort of goofy girl, which wasn't really that hard for me. And it was great. We had a great time.
Excellent. Yeah, Breakfast Club's great. As a kid or teenager, it was always Ferris Bueller for me. I think I watched that way more than any other. I love the different phases of John Hughes because like there's kind of 3 phases. You start off with the sex comedies of like National Lampoon's Vacation, and Class Reunion, all the National Lampoon stuff. And then he morphs into the teen angst comedy with the, 16 Candles, Breakfast Club, Ferris Bueller, all that stuff. And then he has this weird transition into kids comedies with Home Alone and Baby's Day Out and Dennis the Menace and all this kind of stuff. Glorious.
Dennis the Menace was a good one, actually. I did really enjoy that. What's the one with is it Long Duck Dong? What's his name?
Long Duck Dong.
He is by far my favorite stereotype that I have seen. I love him.
Yeah, that's 16 Candles.
That's 16 Candles? I thought it was, yeah.
Automobile?
It's so offensive, but it's so funny.
And when he's on the exercise bike with the chick with the big tits?
Oh, that guy must have had a great day filming.
This is once again just me showing my age and all that, but, I love those stereotypes back in the 80s, They don't fly today, right? But going back to that time, I just love them. Long Duck Dong, and you got, I think the same actor... Was it the same actor? No, a different guy was in Police Academy doing the same kind of caricature.
Oh, really?
Yeah, different actor, but doing the same kind of thing,
Yeah.
Oh, just funny.
I mean, they do kind of still do stereotype in these day and age, but they do it a little bit smarter. Like they don't do it as discriminatory.
Well, it's a little bit more tasteful these days.
Tasteful, that's the word, yeah.
And I think too, how do you explain this? As the cultures change and shift from I guess it's all immigrant based, right? So as say, we had, like we talked about last week, Wog Boy and Nick Giannopoulos, right? So the Greeks were that immigrant population from the 70s, 80s. and then the Vietnamese came along, and then blah, blah, blah. We're moving on, and we've got Sudanese now and all this kind of stuff. And it's the newer ones that are more sensitive, obviously, because they're new.
Right.
The ones that have been around a bit longer kind of get the Aussie way. They kind of embrace, or just, they embrace the Western culture a little bit more. And it becomes a little bit less offensive as they go on. And, Crazy Rich Asians plays into it big time, right?
Yep.
But they embrace that.
Right.
Dig me out of this hole, Chloe. Dig me out of this hole.
No, it's not a hole. You're completely correct. They embrace their culture, but in a way that, everyone finds it comedic. We can all relate to it. And that's tasteful discrimination. Like, that's tasteful making fun of themselves. That's, without offending people, if you know what I mean. So, like, I don't think you're in a hole at all. You're completely correct.
This hole goes all the way to China.
Oh, nice puns and jokes on the show too, by the way. Guys, if you want some really fucking good ripper jokes, Halloween jokes, go definitely listen to the podcast, because
hang on,
there were some great ones.
You're being facetious right now.
I'm not. I'm a sucker for funny fucking jokes. And what was my favorite one? What was my favorite one?
Wasn't the vampire and the teacher, was it?
No, it was one where you could taste something. What was that one?
Oh, no, the one when I'm reading the book?
Maybe. What was
where
that
I said
one?
I'm reading a new horror book and it's in Braille and I know there's something scary coming. I can feel it.
When you said, I don't mean to put a spoiler out to everyone and just repeat what happened on the podcast, but when you said, "Oh, I'm reading a book in Braille," I was like, "Good for you, man." Good for you. And then you're like, "Yeah, I can feel it coming." Holy shit, I was driving home from work and I wet my pants. It was so fucking funny.
I'll take that as a compliment that I had a good setup.
It was a great setup.
And you know what? Like, when I listened back to it, and I was paying attention to Ben's reaction, I got him on most of them. Like, he thought I was leading into something on most of them.
That's
shit.
So funny. Anyway,
it is.
Props.
Hey,
props.
I couldn't believe this. Mel Brooks is making a sequel to History of the World.
Oh, okay.
So, History of the World, if you've never heard of it, it's called History of the World Part 1. And that's the joke, right? That there is no Part 2.
Right.
And then when you get to the end of this film, there's then a teaser for History of the World Part 2. And it's so dumb. It's got like Jews in space and all this kind of Hitler on ice and all this kind of stuff. And that's the gag. But he's actually come out and said they're adapting it for a television series and it's History of the World Part 2. He's writing it and someone else is directing it.
So is it going to have Jews in space?
I hope so. And Hitler on ice. That would be the best.
Oh man, I do like Mel Brooks. I do.
I love Mel Brooks.
He knows people and he knows how to make them laugh and he knows how to make it funny.
Bloody oath. Bloody oath.
Hitler on ice. I mean, come on.
And in that little teaser at the end of the film, it's got Hitler doing figure skating, doing the twirl. Hilarious.
That just brings us back to my thoughts on Adam Sandler when Little Nicky and he likes to stick the pineapple up Hitler's ass and that's his punishment for the rest of his life. I just think that's brilliant.
Spiky end first.
Spiky end first.
Yeah, Hitler in a tutu is funny.
Oh, just anyone, making Hitler suffer is funny.
Yeah, I don't want to harp on about cancel culture, but I'm amazed that Mel Brooks is even tempting it because he's in his 90s, right? He's a very old man, and I guess he's like, if you want to cancel me, I'll just go ahead and die.
That's what I mean. Like he's got no fucks to give anymore. He's like, I really don't fucking care. I'm going. Yeah,
and if you're trying to cancel me, you have misread everything I've ever written.
If they were going to cancel him, they would have fucking gone blazing saddles straight away. Because they would have cancelled him for sure.
Nah, but they couldn't cancel Richard Pryor at the time. That's the thing there.
Yeah. See, that movie would never get made these days, ever.
No. Ridiculous 6 is the best you get.
Oh, so good. Don't even get me started.
I know, we've talked about that before.
Don't even get me started.
I think we almost had the same conversation verbatim before on a previous episode.
We do this all the time. We just go on a roundabout, and I do that. I apologize.
Yeah, that's the strength of Mel Brooks.
Yeah, that is. Oh, thanks, Mel.
We've got about a minute left. So,
Oh,
what else? What else have you got there?
it's on my phone. Everything's always on my phone.
And we're done. Have a great week, everybody. What do you got there?
Takes me that long to log into my phone.
It could be on airplane mode. Just check it.
Definitely will be on air. If it's not on silent, it's on airplane mode. Nothing. I just
It's on dumpy mum mode.
was it? Yeah. That's how tired I am. I got a little bit sad when Ryan Reynolds announced that he's taking a little bit of a hiatus. But I understand. He's a busy man and he's done a lot, so he's tired. And he's got kids, so
why would you want to close the show on something you're sad about?
I'm not sad about it. I understand it, but like I'm just like, oh, like I want to keep seeing him on the screen, but I understand.
I think the world's had enough of him for a while.
But I think this is what they do. So he goes into hiatus, and then Black Lively comes out of the cave and like has her turn, and then they switcheroo.
I wonder what nose she's going to be wearing.
I may or may not be bringing that up later.
I might cut it there.
I can't.
Have a great week. See you next time.
Bye.